Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Totally Oblivious Podcast. I'm your host.
It's Spooky Month!
It's Spooky Month. I'm your host, Caleb, co-host Alex. It's Schizo Spooky Month.
Yes.
How is it October already? I have no idea.
We're still in September when we're recording this, but no one will know.
But also, I was like, October's not for a while. I don't have to worry about that. October's in 2-3 days.
At the time of recording this.
What happened?
And we got a light guy. Hold on, I'll take a picture for you.
We got Charmander.
Yeah, we got a new. I like that's just the recurring joke.
Just our production staff is just plushies.
I still think we need like a live studio audience of all like a whole bunch of plushies. And we all give them character.
Oh, you know what? We gotta get a Cinequil, and that can be our Jamie.
Yeah.
Jamie, pull it up.
And then you gotta, oh my god, that'd be fucking funny. You could just make that like a side gag where you just like, you put like Cinequil in the corner while you type something. You just put this typing sound effect and then you just show up on the screen.
Exactly.
So,
perfect bit.
I guess I'm leading this month.
Yes. So
this might be all over the place, but it's Schizo Month, so I think it applies if I sound fucking crazy and I don't know everything. So, in the month of October, we are going to be strictly talking about conspiracy theories. We kind of already regularly do that when the time presents itself. But since it's October, we're going to talk about all things creepy. And I don't know if Caleb put it in the video or Caleb and Post put in the video, but I'll give you 3 options. You can choose 2 of the 3.
Okay.
So we can talk about Atlantis. Okay, there will be a theme here over the course of the next 3 episodes before I give you anything. So what I'll do is for this week, how many weeks are in October? 3 or 4?
There's 4.
I gotta do 4. Damn, I need to go home and get more. So we'll do it on layers.
I do have a schizo thing that we'll have to wait till next week because I haven't done any research on it.
Okay.
But it's so insane. It's not a conspiracy theory, but it is absolutely
this week
insane.
will be light. That's why there's so many. So these are very minimal. So what I'll do for my side is this. First week are ones that I can explain really easily, but I'm gonna tear through. I don't claim to be a conspiracy theorist. I don't make conspiracies. I criticize them. I'm a conspiracy critic.
Conspiracy critic.
So you'll hear it as I yap. So this week will be the ones I don't think are true. They're completely ass. They're bad conspiracy theories. Next week, damn, that's a lot of water. If the mic's picked that up. Who's taking a fat piss? Is your water heater behind that fucking door? Is that? It
is. That's where the water heater, the Black Widows and demons reside.
Huh. I've known him for almost 10 years, and I've never fucking figured it out until right now.
As a child, I was told to never open that door because it was infested with Black Widows. And into adulthood, I have yet to, out of my own free will, open that door.
The childhood fear still is there. Anyway, back before I interrupted myself. So this week will just be like theories I fucking hate. They're stupid. They're really dumb. They don't make any sense. Next week, or whenever I do my next one, I will do like a pretty good, like, these are plausible, and then the bottom one will be just straight up the ones I straight up believe. Like,
just
there's
into the swamp. Into the swamp.
These are so engraved in there, and I think I know which one I will be doing. I think I will be doing the Finders, but in proper that week. So if anybody wants to hear about that conspiracy theory, where we will be talking about PDF files probably by the end of Schiztober. So that's the official name. So I don't know what my second layer will be, but I know what my third layer will be, and that one will be all fully documented, and I'll probably end up having a laptop in front of me.
It's like a Tim Burton looking cake.
Yes. So this week I have the. I'm not gonna fucking. Caleb and Post will put it on screen. So we got Atlantis, JFK. That one I technically believe, but I'm gonna criticize it at the very end. And then the Audible theory. I can't pronounce it. It'll be here on screen. It's named after a very old hunter-gatherer town or city. So a settlement is what the researchers would say. So what do you want me to yap about first?
Well, I was kind of going into this thinking about the JFK thing, so we can start there.
All right, so this is an all-time classic, but as an American, and as an American who likes to go into this realm of the weirdness of all of it, it is probably the most infamous case ever.
Yeah, I think in modern media, yeah.
I think it's how would I put it?
Aside from 9/11, it is one of America's most infamous.
Oh, I can talk about. Can I? No, 9/11's too easy. I was fucking.
Everyone talks about.
George Bush probably did it. It's all over the walls.
Yeah,
it's
pretty cut and dry.
Cut and dry on that one. It was probably just to get reelected. I am not joking you. The CIA probably knew. This is the only time ever in the recorded history of me saying, I don't know if it was the FBI or CIA. I know it was the CIA this time. They probably knew it was happening. Let it happen just to fund war on terror so they'd get money out of it.
Yeah.
It probably was that, and that's the sad reality of it, but RIP to the people in that building. But JFK, though, it is probably on the level of 9/11. I would say, if not arguably, a step or two down. I'm gonna be a little bit controversial here. I don't think people really glaze it that hard anymore.
Yeah, cause I think 9/11's just still recent, so people still have like things to talk about it, and like new discoveries are still being made since things are still coming out from classified documents. Yeah, but JFK is pretty much like everything's out there, but I don't think everyone's been able to fully tie the knots together to have like a full, true story.
Yes, I 100% agree, and I also there's almost with these conspiracy theories I'll talk over in the next month are very like telling of I guess my character and personality, because it's just mostly either gonna boil down to the system's fucked up, or someone's hiding something big because they want to save their asses. That's more or less what's going to end up boiling down to. And in this case, the infamous scene, JFK shows up to Houston, right? Is it Houston? Not Dallas. I think it was Houston.
I think it's Dallas.
Is it Dallas?
I'm pretty sure.
It was in Texas. I don't really need to care about the finer details there. It's just the people that involved that really matter. That's the part I know. So he's going around. He's doing his political thing. This is his first term. It is normal. Guess, please correct me. That's what your job this month. So he is parading around. He is doing the things that presidents do during their first term. Is they're trying to get reelected. So they're going place to place to place. This is very common.
Okay, it was Dallas.
Okay, good. So what ends up happening, of course, my goat, Lee Harvey Oswald, won't miss a shot again. Fires at the U.S. president 2 times. We'll get into that later. First shot collides with him, pierces him through the neck, hits the senator that he was with. Second shot fires right side of his hemisphere, completely blown off. Fucking KIA, no revival. He gone, dead on impact. I low key, as a child, I didn't understand it because I was in conspiracy theories as a child too. Totally blame end of the world Christian religious theories. 100%. I gaslit myself into this lifestyle. He was dead on arrival. He went to the hospital. Lee Harvey Oswald walks around Dallas for hours on end because the cops don't know where he is, but they know what he looks like. Eventually, motherfucker ends up in a movie theater. Somebody thinks he looks suspicious.
Wow, he put in his inner Wilkes Booth there. He's like, you know what? I know exactly what to do.
I'll bring up John Wilkes Booth at the end of this too. It kind of ties back to where my thinking goes with it. He ends up at the movie theater. The cops detain.
What movie was he watching?
I don't even remember exactly what movie. I know he left the movie theater. He went like a whole bunch of places. He went to a shoe store. He went to a shoe store, a movie place. He left the movies. I think he got kicked out too. He got kicked out. A cop looked at him. The only time ever in one of these serial killer or conspiracy theory events, a cop looks at him, unlike the Zodiac killer, and goes, "I think that's my guy.
I think we gotta get this guy."
And so he stalls him long enough. Cops surround him. He gets taken to jail, and of course, I don't know if you want to show any of the footage. I think you can. think you can show everything up until they get blasted. But one of JFK's Glazers was all like, I ain't taking this down. And then blasts Lee Harvey Oswald point blank, kills him instantly.
Real.
And then that person goes to jail. A few months later, he dies of cancer. I think a few years later, actually. What? So there you go. That's the whole event that goes down.
Lee Harvey Oswald shot the president and then went downtown, had himself a little tour of Dallas,
and then got smoked.
Blasted.
I think it was a few hours later. I think it was a few hours or a day later, or 3 days later. It's in between that time span. He got blasted. No, it was 3 days later they filed an investigation. No, he did get blasted a few hours later. So Lee Harvey Oswald dies a few hours later. Done. So this is where it gets weird. So that's the whole scenario that happened. Very summarized, very TLDR. So now this is where it gets weird. Lee Harvey Oswald used a bolt action. Is it a bolt action or is it Springfield? Basically, what I'm just going to summarize here, I'm not a big gun expert, but those two shots make absolutely butt fuck no sense at all. Lee Harvey Oswald was in the Army, but to pull off what he did was either insane luck. Basically, Super Mario 64 sun particle hit my fucking graphics card ass luck. Or B, he was just that good. Or C, conspiracy theory time. Many, you can look this up continuously from people way more educated in guns than I am. Say this for a fact with the gun he used. Caleb in post put it up screen. I think you had to pull back. I don't think it was a Springfield, but it was. Oh, you can look it right now. Yeah, but basically, how Kennedy was shot makes absolutely no fucking sense to this day. However, this was when cameras were around, and we have multiple scenes of it, multiple cameras of how Kennedy got shot and died. And the big conspiracy theory here is there was more likely than not.
It does look like it's bolt action.
Thank you. I think more likely than not, I think everybody almost kind of agrees on this. There was probably a second shooter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So and where he got shot. So if this is the strip in front of me, and here's the building. So here's the strip. This is where Kennedy is. This is where Lee was shot. And I can't exactly know. I don't know exactly where the bullet penetrated and all the finer details there. But from where Kennedy was, I think it was about 50 yards, maybe. I don't think it was very far. There's a fence, or modern day fence right here, over next to my face. How the theory goes, and where a lot of people think there was a second shooter, some guys planted here to make sure the motherfucker doesn't come out of it. And from that point on, I think it was way farther after that till people actually ended up realizing that. That's where the conspiracy theory lies. So now,
is that where they assume the Umbrella Man came in?
They're okay. You now that's big brain. We're not there yet. Hold on.
The Umbrella Man, the literal penguin.
Yeah.
Plot.
We got the fucking babushka lady there too. There are many characters here.
Lady, I forgot.
We're not there yet. Hold on. We're gonna get there. There's a second shooter shot at him. There's other characters around. People have been speculating for years.
Do we know if Oswald was the one with the killing shot?
No, I'm pretty sure the second shot killed him. It went through the neck and into the senator, Texas senator at the time. Oh, you know what? Pause real quick. I forgot Kennedy's wife's name at the time, but what the senator overheard her saying, I will never forget, is his brains are in my hands.
No.
That shit, oh my God. I know we're like making conspiracy and kind of making it entertaining, but the scenario that happened here is very serious, and I feel so bad for her.
I think that's why it gets a lot of attention, because it's just like a heartbreaking thing, because Kennedy was actually like a good guy.
We'll get into that. I like this conspiracy theory. I just don't like where people end up with it. That's going to be my criticism here.
Kennedy is a good guy for one, and for two, to have that happen to anyone's spouse
is terrible.
That's just awful.
So yeah,
to have to deal with that is just awful.
Terrible situation. But yes, second shooter here next to a fence. Lee's over here. Cars passing by. One shot goes through. Somehow, some way, either if you think it's a second shooter or Lee himself, another shot is fired either through fucking the magic bullet theory, and Kennedy is killed. There's multiple people. We got the babushka lady. So if this is the strip, the babushka lady's here. I think the umbrella man is either next to her or on the other fucking side of the street. So there's just two people that like are either just shocked and they can't react to anything or might be players into this. Who knows? I wasn't really going to talk about them because overall I'm going to criticize it at the very end and kind of bitch and complain about it because some people's theories are dumb as hell. Like I said, conspiracy critic here. Put the arrow at me.
I think overall when it comes to those two characters, like just skipping ahead a little bit, is like they really don't, it doesn't lead to anything.
Yes.
Because you don't know their identity.
It's
and
the biggest nothing burger
It really is. Like, and when I said that the umbrella man's literally like the penguin, like I wasn't lying because that entire theory is literally he has his umbrella and it's makeshift. Like it's a gun makeshift into an umbrella that he used to shoot the president, which is
the romanticization is dumb. I'm gonna bitch and complain about it here in a bit. It's so dumb, but more likely than not, I don't doubt this. There is more likely than not a second shooter.
There is a second shooter.
There has to be. It's like the physics of it quite literally make no fucking sense. It's either a scientific anomaly. Like Super Mario 64, you can look into that if you want. That's actually, even then, what's wild about that might not even be true. There's a video I've been waiting to watch. I just haven't yet because it keeps forgetting my mind. But that might not even be true. So even then, the second bullet theory makes more sense than that, which is so fucking wild. But we end up getting into the serious situation later that day. I forgot what president takes his reins at that point.
It's Lyndon B. Johnson.
Thank you. Lyndon B. Johnson, a few hours later in the Air Force One, takes presidency. And 3 days later, he puts an official investigation into the events. And this is where the conspiracy theory blows up.
Because this is where, I don't know if this is exactly where you're going, but I always hear that it was Johnson who did it. And I remember, I think I said this on the podcast, I think it was me and Colby, where I was hearing about the conspiracy and like being like, yeah, that checks out, like kind of thinking that it could be possible. But then I remember the history of it and the fact that Johnson fulfilled all of Kennedy's, like, all the things he was pushing for as president, even though he disagreed with it as vice president. After Kennedy died, he still went ahead and pushed forward with Kennedy's policies, which makes me think, I don't think Johnson had anything to do with it.
We'll get into it. There is a lot of players. This is going to be me bitching about the CIA and about. It's gonna be a long episode.
To me, it wouldn't make sense for him to have anything to do with it.
Yeah,
if he went ahead and did everything that he disagreed with Kennedy,
he more likely than not is a secondary player into this. We'll get into it. So the Lee Harvey Oswald dead. A few hours later, Johnson is now in presidency. Official investigation 3 days later. So this is where it gets weird. There is an official document. However, we don't have any of the evidence. We have nothing. There's an 800-page document basically ruling in, yeah, Lee Harvey Oswald did it. And that's all. That's the official report. Done after that. However, if you know your American history, the CIA has never officially given us everything, which they're supposed to. And just get into modern history, I think it was, you're going to have to double check me on this, but a few years ago, they were supposed to release everything, all evidence included, to the public, to Congress. Like this was a demanded statement, and they have never fulfilled that. So we quite literally, as a nation together, do not know everything. And up until that point, the CIA has refused every time to release documentation of this event in full. A lot of people treat this major event as basically the breaking of the American government and the American people and why it's so disconnected to this day. I 100% believe that. This is the event that basically causes the massive divide between people and state because of this weird, like, why aren't you showing us everything? I don't know. I'm not going to do that.
Because if it was as cut and dry as
that, they would have released everything, right?
There'd be absolutely no reason because we already knew who the killer was, and he's already dead.
Where it stinks, where there's smoke, there's fire. I was gonna say if it smells like fish, it probably is fish.
So yeah, it was about June 30th last year that CNN came out with an article. National Archives concludes review of JFK assassination documents with 99% made public. So there's still 1% that is not public.
They've had years to do this. And the fact that it's taken what? 50? 60? No, it's 40. 40?
60.
60 years?
60 years.
Is insane. But note to this is where my U.S. history comes in. Who's going to criminalize the government? The government? So it is known historically, even during Reagan's administration, people will delete files to do this.
Oopsie, I've lost that.
And this is the CIA we're talking about, and as we get into this month, you'll realize, damn, they fucking suck dick. They do. So the big thing is now, and it's been the biggest thing ever, why and who did it? And more or less, this is where I'm going to start to bitch and complain. It wasn't the USSR. It wasn't the mafia, the Cuban mafia, and it wasn't the Cubans. It was 100% the CIA.
Our own government.
It was our own government in its entirety. Now, let me explain this. This is where I come in as a critic. I hate it. I hate when conspiracy theories romanticize things. Because it basically makes them unrealistic and not true, or they don't have any credible evidence to it. Because let me explain something. So Kennedy died. I can't remember the exact dates. After the Cuban Missile Crisis. So the USSR and him are on okay grounds. The USSR, the Soviet Union is going out of style at this point. There would be no reason for them to kill Kennedy at all, because it would cause global panic and would start World War III. That's the declaration of war. There's no way around it. It cannot be the USSR under any fucking circumstances. It could possibly be a proxy of a proxy of a proxy of a proxy doing it, unrelated to the USSR, but through a chain of people eventually leads back to it. But the USSR themselves, no. The second shooter was not part of the USSR at all. Could not have been. There's no way.
There'd be no reason.
There would be no way. Now, could it have been the Cubans or the Cuban mafia? For the Cuban government themselves being kind of I'm not going to say like an entirely,
because even just looking at, sorry, not to interrupt.
No, go.
But even thinking about it from historical standpoints, is JFK was trying to prevent the U.S. from going into Vietnam.
Yeah.
So it would make no sense for the USSR to kill the president that's saying, we should probably not go
and stop the communism
going on there, because it doesn't benefit us at all.
I'm going to get into that with the CIA. There's a lot of points right there. So, and also I think at this time, they're also preparing for, because that happens in the 80s. Yeah. So yeah, I think historically speaking, they're fighting their own wars along in they're dealing with Europe and they're dealing with the Middle East, because eventually around that time, it eventually all ends up leading into the Middle East. That eventually leads into 9/11. There's a lot of contributing factors here. I'm telling you, Cold War history is my shit. There's so much here.
We're still seeing the effects of it today.
Yes, to this day. So they're doing that. There is quite literally no realistic reason for the USSR to kill Kennedy. There's just none. Russia could not have done it. If they did, and I'm wrong, holy shit, they've played the greatest fucking game
craziest covert op
ever. And while yes, Lee Harvey Oswald, I'm just gonna say fucking Oswald. Oswald did have communist connections. The USSR straight up denied that immediately when it showed up. Like, no, we do not associate with this man, because if they did, we would have problems. And if the CIA had reasons to fight them, we probably would have seen another war there, and so on and so forth. And so that's not possible.
If Oswald was actually associated with the USSR, we wouldn't know that he was associated with the USSR. He wouldn't straight up tell the U.S. public that he was.
Yeah, and he was already dead at the time. And like, I know there was journals and stuff, but it's like, it's not officially concrete. So I'm just gonna straight up say it. No, it was not the USSR. It couldn't have been. Going into Cuba, they're not a proxy state, but they're affiliated with them, and then they're allies. And here's the thing about this. I don't know if Castro knew. He definitely knows now. He's dead, right?
He should be.
I think he is. I think he just died of old age. I burped. But he probably definitely knows now. He would have said something by now, since he was fucking not in power anymore. But it couldn't have been Cuba. Because the USSR was one of their allies. If they got into trouble, then it'd end up just leading to another fucking crisis, another Cuban Missile Crisis again.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make any sense. They got out of it. Why would they kill him? Kennedy also hated the Bay of Pigs. To briefly go through that, we'll talk about it here. The CIA wanted to invade Cuba, epically failed. Kennedy said no. He agreed to it, but he publicly stated that he was lied to, that they just wanted to do this. CIA, Cold War CIA units were fucking bonkers. They were on LSD. That's a true fact, by the way. These guys were on drugs and they were leading the government. I am not joking about that. Google that. Caleb and Post, put it on screen. It's real. So yeah, Kennedy was lied to. The Bay of Pigs shouldn't have happened. JFK quite literally was the most anti-war motherfucker ever. So there's all just a whole bunch of messes. All the suspects you want to think could have done it, they couldn't have. It's impossible. Cuba couldn't have done it. The USSR couldn't have done it. It's impossible. Now, coming into the mafia, this is a bit different. They're not associated with anybody, but they were used by the CIA to do things. Of course, if you have somebody that can do things illegally for you and you can't be blamed, of course you use them. Now, I don't know too much about this one. However, I do know for a very long time between the 50s and up until probably the late 90s, Cuba was kind of fucking big. Like, everybody came to Cuba and New York. Cuba and New York were hot spots between that. I can't fully talk about this one because I don't have the information about it. Could it have been? It's not zero, but it just doesn't logically make any sense, because it probably would have started problems and Cuba probably wouldn't have liked it. So I will say there, no, but it's plausible. Now, we come into the big one, and the most not romantic idea, but the least romantic idea, the CIA. Now, why would the CIA do this? Well, first off, I'm going to always fucking call this out. They were on drugs. Mm-hmm. I kid you not. The CIA was literally drugging each other. They were giving each other acid. So that's a first. Also around this time, MK Ultra is happening. Agent Orange. They had a lot of bullshit. There was so much bullshit. There's so many crimes going on the CIA are doing at this point. It's insane. And Kennedy knows this. He knows this for a fact. The CIA is fucking wild. And so Kennedy, I can't exactly tell you the quote, but the quote goes something similar to this is, I want to defund the CIA, rip it in half, and scatter it to the wind. Which, honestly, based, because they fucking suck.
The amount of good they've done for the world,
not as much as all the crazy shit they've done.
Probably next to none.
Yeah. So Kennedy just hated the CIA. The CIA wanted to go into Vietnam to stop communism. Kennedy wasn't having it. No, just straight up no.
On top of that too, I don't know if you'll get to this, but there was also a lot of just internally, Kennedy was pushing for more equal rights stuff.
Oh,
sticking with
Kennedy, I'm not trying to glaze. I'm not trying to do spins on it. But Kennedy was probably one of the better presidents. Probably, in my personal opinion, George Washington and Kennedy. Kennedy, after looking into it, just kind of to refresh myself for this video, he was honestly pretty good. He was
pushing for a lot of good things.
He was a very good president. And the fact that he died so horribly is what pisses me off most about this, because it was the CIA. The CIA and Kennedy did not like each other. I think previous directors are straight up saying it. There were many internal conflicts. The U.S. public does not know to this day about their relationships. They did not like each other. There was so much scummy shit happening around this time. Of course, the Bay of Pigs incident happens, and eventually we get into the assassination. So, also there was a gold thing too. Kennedy was also pushing for a lot of things. A lot of rich people definitely wouldn't like, and there is a lot of military industrial complex in fingers and a lot of pies. So this also applies to CIA. So, oh no, there's no war, that we're not making money, and this guy's doing a whole bunch of shit we don't like. You see how it's stacking up? How the USSR had nothing, but I can keep going with this fucking CIA constantly. We're getting higher. There's a list on it. There's on Wikipedia and other sites. So they're constantly doing things, and it still applies to now in the modern age. Looking at fucking Edward Snowden and how basically the CIA has been tapping into everybody's shit forever. They're still doing scummy shit to this day, not fixing problems.
They have not stopped. They essentially use 9/11 as a excuse to gain more power.
That's kind of weird, suspicious.
A little suspicious.
That's almost kind of like how when Kennedy died, they got a guy into the presidency who then started allowing things. I wonder why he did that. Was he possibly quite threatened?
Could be, yeah.
Weird. I'm trying to romanticize it because, like Caleb said, Johnson did everything Kennedy did except go to Vietnam, which Kennedy didn't want to do. And what happened? We went to Vietnam, and quite literally every soldier and the American public fucking hated that war.
Nobody wanted to be a part of that except for the people with money.
And the CIA, because they started doing some fucking hardcore. Oh my God. I forgot about the vampires.
The vampires?
The CIA and the U.S. military tried to scare Vietnamese soldiers by pretending to be, I forgot the exact name of it, to be, you know about it. When Dagoon does it, Caleb and Post play the clip of the U.S. government wouldn't do that. Oh, yes, they would. That clip comes from that video. They did that. The U.S. government tried to literally be vampires in order to win a war.
Because weren't they... they were draining the blood out of... Was it soldiers or was it like animals in the area?
I think anybody and everybody.
They were just draining the blood and then leaving the bloodless bodies out.
Yeah.
For the Vietnamese to find, making them think that they were vampires.
Yep. So like I said, I can give nothing about the USSR because they were dealing with other problems and they did not want to be in another war, a one-on-one war with the US. Proxy wars and wars similar to Vietnam, they're fine with. They don't care about that because it's just like we're affiliated with them, but we're not doing anything.
One thing I do kind of want to look into more, just in free time, is like what wars was the USSR? What were they participating in mostly, directly? That like how the US was
mostly in Asia and then in Europe.
Because I never really hear about those wars, and that's probably because
the American propaganda.
We're mostly focusing on U.S. stuff that the U.S. did because we're in the U.S.
Yeah, to give you a quick answer on that, it is basically they were worried about the Iron Curtain. A lot of internal issues there on that one, but like they were worrying about the Iron Curtain. They were worrying about Germany. They were worrying stuff about the Middle East that eventually led into them invading the Middle East, losing. The Americans are funding that, by the way. Who would fund them?
Yeah, you know,
CIA.
Now thinking about it, yeah, that would make sense that they would be focusing more on their internal problems because I think they weren't very stable.
No, they weren't. After World War I or at World War II, they were very actually after World War I, they were all fucking stupid for a while.
They were able to work together as like a unit to fight World War II, but when it came to like
post-war, they were
post-war, they like were constantly having like proxy wars within their own country.
Yeah, they were having
revolts.
They were having major problems. So like, it literally makes no sense to go assassinate a president to start a one-on-one war with another nuclear nation
when you literally can't control your own nation.
And it doesn't. It's the single dumbest play ever. That would be almost on the level of Japan nuking Pearl Harbor.
That'll forever be in
the
history,
funniest thing.
One of the
Dumbest
throws that a country has ever done in a war.
Yeah. So the USSR knows. So going back into it, all of Vietnam was a fucking shit show. There were so many crimes committed. Geneva Conventions. I don't think it was updated at that point, but the United States of America was killing civilians, gassing them with Agent Orange, vampire experiments, tactical warfare. There was so much bullshit, dude. And there's interviews. I think the one I like a lot is, I can't remember his name, but he has like a mustache, he has glasses, and his hair's like very, very 80s at the time. And he's just explaining, and he's like, "We're supposed to be helping people," and like one of his sergeants goes, "Motherfucker, no, we're not.
That's not what we're sent
Just
here
start
for."
fucking pulling the trigger and start putting him in the fucking trucks. Let's hurry this fuck up." Like, that's the entire attitude of Vietnam.
Yeah.
It sucked fucking dick. Nobody wanted to be there. Absolutely nobody, except for the people who were being on drugs, the fucking CIA, and the military industrial complex.
And that's what always sucks too about like post-war, like the veterans coming back from that war, is a lot of them didn't want to be there and just had to because they were literally forced to.
Yeah.
And then they get back, and then the citizens hate them for what the U.S. was forcing them to do. When it's like, man, they're kind of victims in all this too.
Fortunate Son.
Yeah.
Fortunate Son basically explains that entire era. That's not a joke. Good song because it represents so much. So
a lot of people don't understand a lot of those songs, what they mean.
I won't lie. The CIA has done work on making people not be able to fucking look into things. But yeah, more or less, it was the CIA. There is so much about that. So coming back all to it, who was the second shooter? We will never know. The answer is, and I'm not going to romanticize it because that's my entire critique, we don't know. For it, more likely than not, the CIA knew that he was going to do it. Because they know about it now. We can start going into fucking school shootings and how the CIA knows about them. But I'm not gonna do that. We'll save that for later. But they know he was gonna do it. They knew he was gonna fire at him. The second guy posted up probably was a federal agent to make sure that motherfucker did. That motherfucker died. Or second alternative idea to that, it was another another shooter who wanted Kennedy dead, took the shot off, and he just was never found. That's the other idea.
It could just be a Wilkes-Booth situation where it's just a random guy did not like Kennedy for his policies,
and then the
went
CIA
out,
just
shot him, and just never found him. Because that's entirely possible.
Look what happened to fucking Oswald. He basically was roaming Dallas. If he would have just stayed indoors and then just shaved his head off and then changed his clothes, we quite literally might have never found the shooter.
They could have never found him. If he didn't run into that cop, there's a good chance nobody would have ever caught.
He could have just been laying at the park on a bench.
Just disguise himself as a homeless man.
Oh yeah, hide yourself in a fucking garbage can for a few days. Eventually skip town, and nobody would have found you. There was no DNA testing at this time, or at least it was not very good. It makes total sense why we never found the second shooter.
Yeah,
it's just that's what the end of the day is. It could have been another guy the CIA knew about, or a CIA federal agent. It's just what it is. Like, there's so much evidence stacked upon them and how they basically forever have said no to certain details, and how on multiple occasions on the U.S. government parts where people have accidentally deleted files or got rid of things, and how very suspiciously finders, pedophiles were not looked upon for some reason, and arguably were like, no, we don't need to worry about that. It was a front that we were totally looking into, but it totally went haywire.
And
yeah, my ass.
Even just looking like as a not conspiratorial like point of view, there's a lot of cases during that time specifically where just it seemed like the investigators were just kind of like they didn't really care or were just incompetent.
Oh yeah,
because they'll just throw away evidence thinking it wasn't important.
It is insane.
Like I can't remember which case. I know they talked about it on one of the BuzzFeed Unsolved, where literally like they had the bones of like the victim and they just incinerated them for no reason. They're just like, well, it's unsolved, burn it. It's just got rid of the evidence. It's like goobers.
It is genuinely insane. And now no, most murder cases in the US don't end up getting solved.
Yeah.
So when cases like that end up happening, you kind of understand why they do it, but it's just like, but why? That's kind of weird.
Like I think now the just investigators will do a better job at keeping all evidence, even if they don't solve the case and it goes cold, they'll still keep that evidence just in case in the future that something.
The boy in the
comes
box.
out.
That one. Yeah. That one got. I don't know what the answer to that one is, but they figured it out. They found it, and with the fucking Zodiac killer case, that one also probably got found. Either he died or he's still around, but like basically on death's door. And somebody might be related to him?
I think it was that guy's grandpa's on his deathbed. Like they figured it out.
Yeah, there's that one almost got figured out, and there's connecting evidence with that one. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, all of this stuff can be solved. It's not Jack the Ripper. That one will be forever infamous and never will be solved. But we have evidence here, multiple tapes, and going back to the deleting files. This is where I always get pissed off, and I know it was them for a fact. We have multiple shots of the Zapruder film of Kennedy dying, but they have never, not in physical copy, have ever been found, and they're just gone. Huh? That's kind of weird. It's almost like that one time, like when Reagan's people who started wars in the Middle East were like, hold on, we need to delete some files, and they deleted stuff, and that's wow, and they didn't get
crazy,
and it was they only got in trouble because they found out they were doing that. So it's kind of weird how that never got investigated, and it's always totally weird when they go, CIA, can you investigate yourself if you did any problems? Yeah, let me do that.
Essentially, the CIA is the kid who was looking up porn on the family computer and got a virus, but deleted the search history, and they're like, I don't know where that virus came from. That's crazy.
That's wild, man.
The search history shows nothing suspicious, so I don't know how the virus could have got there.
That's weird. So I don't know how this malware got on this thing, Mom. I was looking up made from Pokemon.
I was just typing up my essay for school, and all of a sudden, there's a virus.
I love that. I love the fucking audio bit of, why is there a virus on the computer? It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
I didn't look that up. Goofy little kid. But yeah, it is more or less the CIA. There's so much shit here stacked against them. It's weird. Lyndon B. Johnson just agreeing to Vietnam makes no fucking sense at the end of it. When you definitely know for a fact they were definitely being like, I think it's almost like at least during that administration, a secret between those people of like, they knew something was fishy going up, and so they're just going to agree with them just to shut them the fuck up so nothing else happens. It's basically Big Brothering it. Yeah. Is more or less. The CIA now is still a problem. Now, are they as crazy as they were back then? As of right now, they're better. Crossing my fingers on that one, but 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s CIA was nuts. Absolutely insane federal agents. The fact that they were drugging each other.
Because I think it was more of a push for power back then.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, it was all about becoming the world superpower. So now that the U.S. is the world superpower, there really would be no point for them to be doing anything too crazy anymore. Yeah,
they basically ended up winning. The USSR fell. And I will argue, too, a lot of the issues that ended up happening within the USSR were probably because of the United States. Probably guaranteed. I'd argue that we probably definitely were using spies and stuff at the time. So yeah, that's more or less. There's so much evidence. I only had 40 minutes to talk. I don't want to talk about the whole entire time, but like even Caleb knows. But like there is so much evidence of just the CIA just tampering with bullshit and just and doing things. It's ridiculous. And I know people want to say it's like it wasn't the U.S. Like my dad would probably argue it. My aunt, being ignorant, would probably argue it was somebody else. But for the fact that we know they were bullies, they were trying to get shit done. The Bay of Pigs basically proves they were lying to Kennedy and wanted to just cause conflict to become a superpower. So like killing him in order to gain more, and then just lie for like 60 years and barely give Congress anything. I know you said 90, but I don't know if that's entirely correct, because like they're still withholding certain things, and they could have got rid of things as well. So it's just like they're just dicks.
And I think there's another thing that needs to be understood is assassination attempts on presidents are actually a lot more common than we even like actually know. Because I think what Obama had he had quite a few.
He did.
That we just never really heard about. Mm-hmm. And with a politician like Kennedy, since he was popular with the public, like you wouldn't think that he would get anything on his head. Mm-hmm. But it's the fact that he wasn't popular with the elitists.
Yeah. Like
rich people and other politicians didn't like that he was pushing policies that actually benefited the lower class. Because a very similar thing happened with FDR, where he was passing so many policies that were good for lower class Americans that were bringing them up, and he was so far against like capitalist elitists that they were trying to start a revolt to overthrow the president at one point during his presidential term. And
it happens every single time.
They nipped that one in the bud. Like it's crazy. Like there's so much. I don't want to say that you don't hear about, because you do hear about it if you actually like look into it. But it's so easy to forget like how much of this stuff happens, that it's like, yeah, it seems like the biggest threat to our country has always just been the rich elitists.
It always has been. Look at Marie Antoinette. They completely destroyed France. And it wasn't until the people literally started killing motherfuckers is when they got their problem solved. But I might go into that conspiracy theory. That one, they'll save it for later. There's a secret family. I'll leave it at the tips of your tongues if people get really interested with it. But there's a secret family that you can't find on Google.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff with that one.
At the end of the day, what it comes down to is when you try to do good things, eventually those good things will hurt somebody else's money, and then they'll want you dead.
Yeah. It's pretty bad. But like, and even going with the John Wilkes Booth thing, even if it wasn't the CIA, it probably was a proxy of a proxy.
Yeah, because with Wilkes Booth, he was
a Confederate. But like, he did it of his own free will. He was completely separate from some other guys in the background. So it's just like the second shooter, or maybe, I don't know, the luck of fucking 2 bullets coming out of a bolt action rifle that fucking fast. And we will never know the full story with oh my god, there's so many names I'm trying to remember. With Oswald in my head, he just got lucky. He was a proxy for proxy for proxy. He just didn't like JFK, which is so weird, because he would have. It still shocks me to this day that, oh my god, there's so much more about the CIA. It's all coming into my brain right now. That he would have shot at him because he was advocating for people like him. So it still makes no sense. No sense. And just to even add more into it, to say it was basically the CIA, MK Ultra did experiments on the Unabomber. Fun fact. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they did that, and it's totally weird how the Unabomber hates education and all the things that come from it when the MK Ultra experiments for at least college students was literally degrading them and telling them that education was bad. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, honestly, when you look at the people who are put up as America's like greatest villains, they are like directly created that way from some government action that destroyed their life.
Osama bin Laden only did the things that he did because of Ronald Reagan. Not of Ronald Reagan, but of his people that he hired because he was stupid.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is so much bullshit.
Just Marvel movie plots.
Yeah, and that one's not even a conspiracy theory. That one's documented.
That's just true.
Yeah,
that's just an actual truth.
Reagan's administration basically funded 9/11 years later.
Pretty much, yeah. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah. So that one's basically the TLDR. Not a TLDR. This is almost gone for a whole hour. But yeah, with Kennedy, it's more or less. I know I've repeated it several times at this point, but it was definitely the CIA. There's just so much against them at this point. It's wild. Go on YouTube. There's a lot more people educated on this. Even though I think I know most of my facts, but there are like smaller details you can go into. But it's just like there's so much stacked up against the own government during this situation that, in a sense, if you were to be in that room and were to weigh the options, if you honestly think about it, killing the president of your own accord, stacked upon everything else that's going on in the world, actually has more benefits than negative connotations.
Yeah.
And killing him wasn't that bad in hindsight for the CIA.
Look
what they were.
Looking at it from today's perspective, they got exactly what they wanted.
They did.
Like the JFK assassination, literally only benefited them.
Yeah. If I were to romanticize it, but do very minimal of it, I can say this: the CIA knew what it was going to do. It wanted a war in Vietnam. They knew whatever they were doing in Russia was fucking them over completely, but they needed more backing. Kennedy wasn't giving it to them. They knew they could blame it on Cuba or the USSR or make people just scratch their heads confused because they couldn't find a person that did it, because all the events that led up to it are completely confusing. And it could have been all orchestrated. The guy that ended up shooting Oswald died of cancer years later. Cancer ray.
Strange.
Cancer ray. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but they had all the options laid out. They knew what they were doing, and when you honestly look at it and what's ended up happening now in the real world and where the CIA is currently, that board meeting that possibly went down, I'm saying hypothetical, this is the only time I'll romanticize it, happened. They had a whiteboard and they probably ended up saying, so who's going to be the shooter? And they found Oswald, did some covert operations getting him radicalized, had a second guy that was either somewhat similar to Oswald or just a second shooter just in cases. And that's history. That's what I think ended up happening. And then eventually led into kind of bullying within the U.S. government, got into Vietnam, and we're now here in the current day. Yeah. There we go. They got what they wanted. We technically, in the grand scheme of it all, are in the bad timeline.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. But that was my one criticism with it. But yeah, I don't know if you want me to rant about another. I can rant about the other one I found. Do you want me to go on that?
If it's short, we could probably.
I think I could. I just have to read off Google. So this is the one I found on TikTok, and basically, this is where I hate. This is where I really get into criticizing conspiracy theories. So my biggest bitching complaint about some conspiracy theories, these are the ones that come from the whack jobs, the weirdos at church, basically. Big one being overpopulation and one day we'll run out of resources. I hate this. I hate this. The one I'm going to read real quick, I'll go into it. It's not that popular, shockingly. So you have to be in the know to know this. So I'll read it off real quick. It's just a few paragraphs. So I hiccuped. I hiccuped so bad that cup moved. So this is called this is a Middle Eastern settlement from thousands of years ago. I'm definitely pronouncing it wrong. The Oblivious theory. Caleb and Post will put it up here. I said like at the beginning. States that the current industrial civilization would have a maximum duration of 100 years, counted from 1930 forward to from 23rd. Hold on, let me say that sentence. I've been yapping the entire time. This is what happens when I end up recording. So let me say that. The current industrial civilization would have a maximum duration of 100 years, counted from 1930 from 2030 onwards. Mankind would gradually return to levels of civilization comparable to previous experience accumulating in 100,000 years. Oh, no, not 100,000 years, 1,000 years. So basically the year 3000 in a hunting-based culture. Basically what the theory is saying, we'll hit a climax and then we'll all become cavemen because we ended up using too much coal. And it keeps going. So it would basically be similar to humans 3 million years ago. So basically we're like cavemen. This is like early caveman theory. I already read most of this. So yeah, it was forwarded by a man named Richard C. Duncan, I think. Right? Yeah, Richard C. Duncan. He ended up saying this because he had experience with energy sources and loved archaeology. So I feel like this is basically one of those conspiracy theories where it's just basically a fanfic. He just wanted a caveman to come back.
Yeah, I that's what it sounds like. Because the only way the world would like get sent back is at this point through like a catastrophic event. Yes. Like it would have to be like a plague 10 times of what COVID was. Like destroy society, meteor, nuclear war. But even then, we would not get set back that far because the people who survived would still have the knowledge of, oh, we can farm.
Yeah, we basically would end up just being like at a Roman level with our basic information. But to continue on, originally the theory was proposed in 1989. Yet again, I don't think I'll explain it in this Schizo month. I don't think I ever will, but the 80s, the late 80s, from like 85 to basically 89, there's so much fucking wild shit happening. Just saying. I think it's basically the start of like the pre-internet era. That's just an Alex take. But originally the theory was proposed in 1989 under the name Pulse. I think it's is it transit or I think it's pulse transit theory. Subsequent. So, oh my god, I'm speaking so much. I love it. Okay, so basically, it's all it's saying in this paragraph is eventually it changed its name into what it is now. But all this relying data, Duncan didn't do the data for this. It was already presented on archaeological websites and a whole bunch of stuff beforehand. So Duncan just kind of like freeballed this shit and made a whole bunch of info about it. But of course, since he's still alive, this thing got updates like it was a video game. So in 2007, he ended up changing it and kind of making it a little bit more concrete. And he's like, there's like basically like 5 parameters and how it end up turning back into caveman times, where it'd be like the world energy, the world's energy production per capita was declining at the time. It was kind of it shot up during the Industrial Revolution, and they kind of did the data for it, and it kind of was peaking. But how trends work, because all of a sudden you'll see, I'll share Caleb here in a bit, but what he ends up doing and predicting is it like you see the trend going up, right? It has those moments where it dips and it kind of does this, but it's still in that upward motion. It stops around the 90s and then just I'm like, oh my fucking god.
So they're just the doom posters of the day.
Yes, this is straight up just a doom poster from a guy with a degree. Another thing too, this is almost in every fucking conspiracy theory. I hate the schizo ones. The ones that are purely schizo is Earth's carrying capacity. This has been brought up so many times, but it's so stupid that people don't understand this. You can fit 8 billion people all in the state of fucking Nebraska with room to spare. There will never be a carrying capacity, but he thinks there will be. And there will be like, so they wanted like, Well, the next point is the return to coal as a primary source and like peak oil production. So this is another thing a lot of people were worrying about during this time, because it's like, what if we run out of all this fuel when theoretically you fucking can't, because we are only using stuff on the source? What about the ocean? It wasn't primarily used back then. It kind of started getting bigger around the time, but that's another thing. Migratory movements. It just keeps going. But to basically summarize it, and there's a lot of critics on this. This is a theory. This is the romanticization I hate. Somebody will make a theory, right? The world will end. Why? We're using too much energy, and we will max out the population of the Earth. We can't go any further. If somebody look me in the eye, motherfucker. Look me in the eye. When they say that to you, just go, because they're wrong. They're really wrong. They're really, really, really wrong. Basically, all end of the world conspiracy theories are butt fuck wrong. If God is involved, Christian God is involved, there is a passage where it says it cannot be predicted. From the word, who was it said by? I can't remember who it was exactly said by, but I think it's quoted by God himself. You cannot predict it. Throw all the theories away. It doesn't exist. And if it involves math or resources, quite literally, I cannot stress this enough in the modern age. Who is fucking texting me?
It's not true.
It is not true. We can put a whole bunch of sun panels in Arizona and have enough electricity and energy for the entire United States.
That is what's actually insane about that theory. Is literally the power of the sun is like infinite.
Yes, it is.
There's infinite power right there.
It is so dumb. And then we have wind energy, nuclear. We can literally boil water for a fuck ton of energy. Like,
yeah.
I did some light research on this, but I'm basically using it just to roast. If there's certain criteria within a conspiracy theory that if you see this stuff, if you see end of the world involving God or anything past that involving energy, population control, or just saying that we'll reach a max capacity, there will be no more food, or we're wasting resources, we'll reach no. This theory sucks. This is why no one knows about it. You can read about it. I was basically skimming through it. I know I kind of glossed over some things and didn't get everything exactly right because I'm speaking 100 miles an hour because my brain operates faster than my mouth. But just to do this over Schizo Month, if you see this stuff and you're watching this, and if they say this shit, it's wrong. It is so beyond wrong.
You said a guy with a degree made that?
Yeah.
That's actually crazy because just at its base idea of running out of energy literally makes no sense considering that energy is literally, you can't destroy energy.
Yeah.
Like scientifically it is impossible to run out of energy because energy is infinite.
Yeah. You'll slowly lose it. You'll eventually get to the heat, death, and universe, but it would literally take almost
so long
infinite amounts.
That it literally is not like of any concern.
Yeah. Also, I think I remember I'm skipping over this, but this is also one of the weird ones where it advocates for anti-immigration measures and birth control.
So how does that help?
Because
in the long term, because at some point the population still goes up anyway.
So this is the weird thing too. This goes into Elon Musk too and right-wing politics. There's this really weird thing between like two people. Either A, there's not enough people, and B, there's too many people.
Somehow they agree with both sides. There's not enough, but there's too much.
Yeah, it's like it's dumb. I'm saying this right now as a seasoned veteran in anime, other hobbies, and conspiracy theories. As these are if I had a badge of honor, these would be my three. I think shockingly enough, conspiracy theories being one of the bigger ones. There's certain things almost on like an essay level that you read and it's bullshit. Fucking F. These are F tier things. I really want to preface this to you. This whole thing, the whole theme of this episode is the romanticization of things. If you think about it for long enough and you yourself starts questioning it at a very basic level, for the most part, it's probably wrong. If you're hearing your uncle talk about the Jews and how they're controlling things, for the most part, he's probably wrong.
Like
maybe, unless you make an enemy out of them, which then leads into different complications that it's just by proxy. Oh, they're Jews. No, you just made enemies with the fucking World Bank.
Yeah, I mean, like they might be Jewish, but it's not that it's not the world's controlled by Jews. It's controlled by people who happen to be Jewish.
Yeah, it's like you're hating the people, not the people's ethnicity. That's completely weird. So yeah, there's a lot of things. Like I won't lie, bro. Sometimes I might walk myself into like right wing conspiracy theories just because I just want to see what the other crowd's thinking.
What are you guys talking about?
I'm left or right. I just kind of peek around, and for the most part, man, when it comes to some basic politics of the right, bro, it is fucking actually insane.
You say logic
out the door.
Goodbye.
No.
We're gonna ignore that.
Now, sometimes when they bring up satanic stuff,
that stuff does.
If there was a list right here, if Caleb and Post wants to do it, end of the world conspiracy theories involving religion, especially Christianity, throw them off the fucking board. Population control, throw it off the board. More population, I don't see how these two conflict. It doesn't fucking make any sense. Exactly. Energy stuff, quite literally, the only reason why we haven't hard spec'd into anything else is going back into oil and other resources. I also think this thing advocates for more oil and stuff.
The only unrenewable energy source.
Yeah, it's totally not because it's in favor of big companies and stuff. Totally. So like, if it's not any of the, if like you see these, throw them out the fucking door. They're ass. They're total ass cheeks. However, satanic stuff though does not fall under this category for several reasons, because sometimes there are fucking some weird ass cults and groups. I will just leave that for now. I will actually be doing like a proper at the end of October thing about the Finders and me bitching and complaining about that one. But yeah, that's more or less what I want to talk about. Like the romanticization stuff. If you see this stuff, just throw it away. It's not good. It's bad. Bad conspiracies. This is a bad comedy, Starscream. So yeah. Anything you want to ask me? Any conspiracy theories that you want to? I can fucking bullet point it right now.
I think real quick there is a recent topic that we could probably cover real quick, just because I don't think we will be doing a full episode on it anytime soon. P. Diddy.
oh, he totally did that.
He totally did that.
Yeah, he totally did that.
It's pretty obvious, but I
think Justin Bieber got involved too.
He was. From what I've been seeing is that like basically Bieber was like groomed into that position, and like it's crazy to think, because growing up, like when he was first popular, just being a child, I was like, I hate this guy. Now being an adult, seeing all the things that he had to deal with, I'm like, this poor guy. His life actually sucks.
I think I treated you too harshly.
Perhaps I treated you too harshly.
Yeah, no. P. Diddy, I think maybe I can cover it the next time I start yapping. I'm gonna have to do 4, or is this the only conversational point you want to talk about? You can do more next week.
We'll probably just talk about this real quick, because right now the case is still happening, so we don't have the full story of what exactly is going on there.
Kendrick was right.
What we know,
Gunna was a saint.
There's 1,000 bottles of baby oil, and he has been confirmed to have killed or had something to do with, or allegedly directly was involved in Tupac getting killed.
I don't. That was more of a rap conspiracy. I know that one.
That's been like confirmed now.
Oh, he was a part of it.
Yeah,
I did not know. I'm not caught up with this game yet.
Yeah, that's all I've been seeing.
I take that back. I knew about that one, but it was like one of those like C or D level answers that you go. I don't know about that one, but now it's up there.
It sounds like, from what I've seen, it's basically been confirmed from some of the evidence that they've found, is that he was like,
they found the fucking gun,
almost directly involved in getting him killed.
I might have to look up at that one if we do like 2 conspiracy theories per episode. But
essentially, he's like the top-notch villain of the world.
The fact that a freak off was real is wild.
The fact that he called it a freak off unironically is insane.
I'm telling, bro. I'm saying it now. I will save it for the Finders, and like I kind of do like a personal conspiracy theory. If this episode is kind of like the ones that I think are ass and are overly romanticized and just don't make any sense, when we get to the Finders and kind of like the grander PDF cult that I think exists just on the baseline. Diddy was definitely a part of it.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's really weird how they all have friends.
Look at everybody who he's gotten mixed up in the situation already. There's the Will Smith part of it's actually
Will Smith. I gotta look into this when I get home, bro. I gotta edit and
Will
shit.
Smith, and now apparently Kevin Hart's deep in it. And I just heard that Steve Harvey is likely involved, and that
you're gonna see the Queen's in it.
He potentially has fled the country now. I don't know how true that one is, but that is what I have seen in the rumor mill right now. But essentially, and Usher deleted his entire Twitter.
Oh fuck!
Because he is like directly associated with P. Diddy and the freak offs. Like the ones that right now that are like directly associated from what I've seen is Usher, Will Smith, and Kevin Hart. How much their association is and what they exactly did, I don't know. I just know the Will Smith situation of what was found on one of the tapes, and Kevin Hart was in a freak off.
How was he in a freak off? What the fuck is Kevin Hart's 211 ass doing, bro?
I don't know, but that is what I've heard is that
those white
they took like there's tapes on tapes of evidence that they found in Diddy's home when they raided it, and those are the ones that we've seen exposed so far. Was the Will Smith one, Kevin Hart, and then I don't know what the evidence is on Usher, but everybody knows that he's had deep ties with Diddy for a while.
It's always the light skinned one, bro.
And I think and Drake too. But Drake's already in
the fucking destroyed.
I ain't gonna lie. What happened to Drake over the past months was he was just that guy on regular show that like he was on his rollerblade skating and then got thrown inside the porta potty, shaken and thrown into the airplane and blew up. Yeah. That was Drake.
Yeah. No, I think Kendrick's line of several lines during that beef of they're here to police some shit, shit. No, I think it's your shit or the shit, and then make Gunna look like a saint is entirely true. And I think Kendrick, I'm just saying this, but this is rap lore for later. But I think Kendrick knew about this shit and knew the cops were going to get involved soon. And this is FBI now level, not CIA. But I'm just saying. I think somebody knew something was going on.
Oh yeah, because it all started with the Cat Williams interview. At the beginning of the year, he was like, "Stuff's gonna go down."
Just they fucking oh god, forgetting. I love conspiracy crafting. I'm not a big one of it, but like when it happens, it happens. Also, Cat Williams is also butt fucking sane too. Yeah, man has also gone on total rants about satanic shit on the Joe Rogan podcast, and it's not conspiracy theory stuff. It's just basically like total hate against other communities because it's so like there's like a transgender demon, and I'm like, okay, alrighty, there's certain conspiracy theories or just ideas that somebody says and you go, all right, that's not a conspiracy theory. You're just straight up hating.
It's the thing of a broken clock is right at least once a day.
Yeah, so it's
twice a day actually.
Is it twice a day? I thought it was once.
Because if it's stuck
right.
at 10, there's 2 10 o'clocks.
Yes. Yeah. That's so good. I forgot about that. But yeah,
Because even like people are now quoting some Kanye stuff where they're like, oh, I guess Kanye was right about that. And it's like, yeah, that is true that Kanye was right about this, but he was also wrong about a lot of things that he said.
Yeah,
a lot of those crazy things that he said, he's still crazy.
I still think to this day, this is my personal conspiracy theory. I know I've said it a little bit in this, but like there's definitely like a cabal. It's not multi-country level cabal. I don't know fully yet. I really have never gone into it full in depth. But when it comes to the music industry, oh fuck yeah, there is.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
There's definitely
it's
a PDF
really
cabal, or just a freak off cabal, as one might say.
Well, so far I think we're gonna see more from the Diddy case than we did with the Epstein case, because we still haven't seen the Epstein list like fully shown.
That's kind of weird too. I wonder why.
Very strange.
And it's totally not like P. Diddy and Epstein didn't know each other.
Oh yeah, they were fully connected. Like that is
zoom in on my face.
Confirmed. Also crazy. Not trying to get too political here, but that Trump was directly connected to both of these people. It's like,
wasn't he with the fucking porn? Dude, it is. Yeah. I know how I just literally said, I don't want to say there's a multi-continental like PDF cabal or some weird shit happening. He just literally fucking started going into countries, bro. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying. That's the only conspiracy theory I will willingly say that I might be a little bit too crazy on. Just a little bit too much. And since it's kind of like a little bit of my own. But like that one, every time I hear like a politician or a famous actor associated with all these people, and I go,
oh,
that totally doesn't go back into my idea. I wonder if any of my subscribers like fully watch these episodes. It's like I can't wait till he talks about anime, and it's just like, this isn't metas. This is other Alex.
This is Alex saying
wacky shit.
Things are not good.
No, they are not good at all, brother. Like I said, I criticize these things because I actually want to know truth. And sometimes, man, like I said with the criteria with some of them are 95% of all conspiracy theories are 100% bullshit. Complete and utter bullshit. But when you have situations like Diddy that show up, and then you start connecting other ideas that have shown up in the past, and there is a red line connecting them, don't bat an eye. Do bat an eye at it. Yeah. I'm just saying that. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and I guess my final comment, since I brought up the P. Diddy thing, and we're not going to fully go into it today. I don't know when we will.
But you can if you want to yap about it. I'm down.
I don't have enough, and I don't think enough evidence has come out. Because
we'll do a separate episode.
Specifically, what I want to say in regards to that, because we don't have the full story, is I did name a lot of names right now who have been confirmed to be somewhat involved or fully involved, and we don't exactly know what their story is, because I saw a video that I fully agree with, that there's going to be 3 types of people that come out of this. There's going to be the people who are fully and directly involved with everything, the horrible things that P. Diddy was doing. There's going to be the people who knew what was going on, but like didn't say anything, that weren't involved, but like they fully knew what was going on. And then there's the people who are the victims of the situation. Those are the 3 things that are going to come out of this. We don't know exactly who fall into those 3 categories right now, but we can know for sure that those are going to be the 3 categories of people that we're going to find in the coming months.
Oh, and now I know why this fucking thing shows up on these fucking... I went back to the other theory just to look at it, bro. I love these. This is the one thing I like about conspiracy theories. They'll talk about some end of the world scenario, and then they'll just start getting kooky. I'm reading on the Wikipedia page. Where am I? At social. I think social scenarios according to the theory, and at the very bottom, it says the Renaissance of utopias. Somehow at the end of it, I guess this is Unabomber level bullshit that ends up happening. Apparently ranging from I think that's ecological discipline to geology, computer science, biochemistry, evolutionary genetics. That's another thing I'll put on the list. Genetics, anything involving manipulating people's shit.
That's bad.
Weird.
That's just
weird.
Bad.
Genetics, far removed from the study of social sciences, among the palatable recent utopian movements. Oh my fucking God, bro. This is where you get... Basically, transhumanism. At one point with a lot of these end-of-the-world scenarios, they just believe that eventually we'll become stronger and better by the end of it. They're weird. I don't know. I just wanted to Let's point that out. But you want to go to a Diddy party?
No party like a Diddy party.
No party like a Diddy party.
How will this affect LeBron's legacy?
That's not a joke anymore because he actually was affiliated with them.
Yeah, and like I said, he could fit into one of the three categories. He either was directly involved and was fully inside the inn, or he was new and did nothing about it. Those are the two that I think he probably falls into.
Probably.
He's either directly involved or he knew about it and just didn't do anything.
I think if anything, going back to Kendrick's lyrics, if he knows Braun keep the family away type shit, he probably indirectly knows or has probably heard something sketch.
Yeah,
my idea.
I think a majority of Hollywood like had an idea of what was going on at these parties because I know a lot of them would leave.
I think it's
before they knew that the stuff started going down.
Those white costume parties or whatever, or white parties where they'd all dress up white. I can guarantee you, every time it happens every year, my brain ticks and goes, "There's something sketch going on.
Something wrong.
There's way too many celebrities, and like I know Diddy and like a lot of Kevin Hart goes to those type of shits, type of parties and shit. So it's just like anytime there's a mass group of celebrities, they're probably doing something freaky.
We like I said, we don't know the full story right now. It's still
we'll cover it. I'm down to cover it if he gets convicted.
We'll have to. I think once we know fully what's going on, we'll have to cover it. Like we said with the Epstein list, we're gonna fully go into that list
when it drops. We will do it.
We never got any sort of coverage on that, so I guess I don't know if they actually dropped the list and now it's just covered up, or if we still have yet to see it.
No, I don't.
I couldn't tell you.
I think, like so many other times in U.S. history, 80 years from now will show up and people will like, wow, this is so crazy, we didn't know, and then just brush it off because it's like they don't exist today. No, they still exist.
Yeah.
Nothing like a Diddy party, bro. If Kevin Hart's into it, I don't know about his kids.
It's this, like I said, this is going to be a very interesting case to look into. So, anyway, that's the start of Schizo month.
I don't know what I'll cover next.
Schiztober.
I think
I got my mini, not conspiracy theory, but definitely schizo
one
oriented.
I don't know which one I should do. I know so many. That's the thing. So I don't know which one I would do.
We'll figure it out next week, I suppose.
I'm not gonna have to think about it. But yeah, I think maybe we can go into the AI one. There's a few AI ones. Maybe we keep it like culturally relevant. I think we can go into some of those because there are a lot of creepy ones.
You know that might associate with what I'm talking about next week. So
we'll save it for then.
Anyway, that's it. So we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Deuces.